everybody, it's Lynn Lyons. I thought I'd just check in because I am hearing a lot of information coming in about how people are making decisions about going back to school in the fall and how that's going to impact their families, how it's going to impact your own work, and a lot of concerns and a lot of worry. And I, of course, am an anxiety person, and I talk to families all the time about how to manage their worry and handle their anxiety. Except as a clinician, because I specialize in anxiety, I'm generally talking to people who are saying, I'm anxious, or I have an anxiety disorder, or my kid's anxiety is really getting in the way. What should I do? And I think that what's happening now is that we are all feeling anxious. So I am talking to you, not the select group of people who identify themselves as struggling with anxiety, but all of us, because this is an incredibly anxious time. And if you are a parent right now trying to figure out what you're going to do in the fall and you don't have any worry, well, gosh, I haven't met you. So I want to talk about people that are not experienced with anxiety, not the people that have had some therapy or some information or people that have worked on this or researched this. I want to talk to the people who I might call the anxiety rookies. People who are saying, I have never felt this way. I have never been this anxious before. I didn't even know I could worry so much. And so if you are familiar with my work, if you've read my books or you've been to some of my trainings, or maybe if even you're one of the families that I've worked with, what I'm going to talk about, the three things I want to talk about right now, may seem basic to you, may seem familiar to you because you are conversant in worry language. For those of you that are experiencing this for the first time, understandably, I want to just give you some really critical information about how worry works and to help you understand how it's impacting you, your parenting, and your children right now. So the first thing that I want you to know is that you might be underestimating the impact that worry is having on your thinking, your decision making. You might even be underestimating the impact that it has on your physical body. When worry is in charge, worry is a thought process that actually goes to worst case scenarios. It loves to be catastrophic. It loves to be sensationalized. It takes you to those places that as you're thinking actually set off your alarm system as if your body and your brain are in imminent danger. So as you're trying to make these decisions and the worry is there, it impacts your ability to think about reasonable risk. It impacts your ability to be a critical thinker. It impacts your ability to make decisions based on facts rather than emotion, because worry and the reaction that it causes is primitive and it's a survival mechanism. So if you are feeling like you're not able to think straight, if you're feeling like you're overwhelmed, if you're feeling like you're not able to sort out what you should do and what you shouldn't do, worry has a part to play in that. The other thing to remember is that worry has a big impact on your body. So if you are experiencing difficulty with sleep, if you are having headaches, maybe you have never really had physical symptoms before, but your appetite is funky or your digestive system is funky. This is because the process of worry and chronic worry, which is what we've been doing for a few months now, sets off these systems in your body. Again, it's designed for emergencies, and when it moves into this chronic place, it wears us down. The analogy I often use is that when you're chronically worrying about something, it's like sitting in your car and pressing the brake and the gas at the same time. And your body just it reacts and it wears out, and you might be feeling things. Also remember that worry is having the same impact on your kids, and that worry is contagious. So if you are noticing that you're impatient and your kids are impatient, that they're more irritable and you're more irritable, that you get frustrated easily or quickly, or that your kids aren't capable, you think, what is going on in your head? Remember that worry hijacks our ability to have rational thought. So pay attention to that. I heard something recently. Well, I read it actually. It was an article online from a reputable parenting magazine, and it talked about all the things you need to take into account as you're making the decision about whether to send your kid back to school or not. And what was interesting about it is that the article ended by saying, look, this is a really impossible situation and you need to trust your gut. And I was like, trust your gut, right? Worry totally impacts our digestive system. And if you are very worried and very anxious right now, your gut is not the place to go to for information. Your gut, our digestive system, is really impacted in dramatic ways by stress, by anxiety, by chronic worry. So I'm going to call bullshit on that, right? Lynn calls bullshit. We're not going to trust your gut at this point. What you really want to do is to be able to separate out from the worry so that you can get your cognitive functioning back where it normally is. So one of the second thing to remember as we're thinking about handling all this worry and this anxiety is that anxiety is paradoxical. So the more that you try and get rid of it, the more that you say, I shouldn't be worried about this, or my kids shouldn't be worried about this, or I don't want to worry about this, or why am I worrying about this? The more that you freak out about the worry, the more that you worry about being worried, the stronger this thing gets. The more you try and push it away, the more that you try and eliminate it, the stronger it gets. That's the nature of how this thing works. So anything that you're doing that is really designed to eliminate it completely is going to backfire. And that may involve consistently trying to distract yourself. A little bit of distraction in a positive way is fine, but consistently trying to distract yourself, saying, I'm not going to think about this, saying that you shouldn't think about this, using self-medicating as a way to get rid of your worry. So turning to alcohol or other drugs is not going to help. It's going to make it worse. So what's the opposite of pushing it away? The opposite of that is recognizing it, allowing it, even welcoming it. The two words that can be enormously helpful to you as you're going through this process with yourself and with your children, the two words are, of course. Of course you feel worried right now. Of course you feel anxious right now because there's so much uncertainty. Worry demands certainty and comfort. It wants to know everything. And if it can't get certainty and if it can't get comfort, it says we're out. So this is why we avoid the things that we feel anxious about, because we don't like the way it feels. Being able to recognize it, step into it, allow it, give your kids language to talk about it, to say we are dealing with a lot of uncertainty right now and we can't control so much of what's going on around us. We have to tolerate being uncertain. One of the things we know about families where there's a lot of worry, one of the things that kids raised in worried families aren't so good at is tolerating uncertainty. So we want to roll around in the mights and maybes of life. It's perfectly fine for you to say to your kids, we don't know exactly how this is going to turn out. We can make some plans now, but we really have to tolerate the uncertainty. It's okay not to know. That's the language that you want to use. It's not about getting rid of it. It's not about denying it. It's not about saying, oh, everything will be fine. It's not about trying to give worry as much information as possible so that you quiet its demands, because that's just not going to work right now. So allow. We're going to expect the worry to show up. We're going to recognize it. We're going to help our kids articulate it. And we're not going to get sucked in to its catastrophic thinking, its sensationalizing, and we're not going to try and deny its existence, because it's just not going to work right now. So as you're thinking about what you can do to help as worry overcomes you, or you're feeling overwhelmed by it, or your kids are, think about reboots, a reset. So exercise, even sitting for 5 minutes and just focusing on your breath, doing things, putting loud music on, allowing yourself to just get a break from it is enormously helpful. Not denying, not dismissing, but saying, oh, I need to just take a little break from it because worry is here. We're going to have to deal with it. The third, and that leads me to the third thing with this, is that you need a break from this thing. And one of the myths of worry is that if I think enough, if I ruminate about this enough, if I go over it again and again, if I really dive into it, if I look for information, remember, because it's looking for certainty, that's going to make you feel better. There is a big difference between worrying and problem solving. Worry tends to be an internal activity that's pretty passive. So you're in your head just going over the same things over and over again, looking for answers, seeking clarity. You can't find it. It feels like you're being productive. It feels like you're doing the work that you need to do. But what you need to remember is that worry and ruminating are separate from problem solving, and that worrying does not protect you and does not protect your family. Worrying about something that either hasn't happened yet in that catastrophic way sets your body and your brain off into this emergency response that's just going to take its toll on you. Again, as I said, it's going to make you irritable. It's going to make you difficulty with your sleep. It's going to screw with your appetite. It's going to make you less effective when you're trying to parent your children. So if, for example, you don't know what's going to happen with school, and a lot of us don't know, and you can't predict exactly how this is all going to look, give yourself a break right now from needing to think about this, from needing to stew in it. Worry wants you to stay with it. I want you to get some distance from it. I want you to find ways to take breaks from it. Maybe you even say, I'm not going to talk about this for the next 2 weeks. You don't have to talk to your kids about it every day. You don't have to look things up online every day. It really is fine to recognize that when it's time to problem solve, when action needs to be taken, that you will do that, but that you do not need to be in this constant process of ruminating and worrying. There are many people, pro-worriers, who feel like somehow that protects them. It's almost superstitious. If I worry about this enough, then things will go fine. That's not how this works. So take a break from it. Now, when you're taking this break from it, what do I want you to do with your kids? Well, there's a few things. Besides having fun, besides being outside, besides enjoying summer and letting your kids see you be able to enjoy it. The other thing that you might do is talk to your family about how you were successful during the spring. What did you do as a family that is indicative of your ability to be flexible, of your ability to be adaptable? This is a time to think about how you were successful. Doesn't mean perfect, but how it is that you guys feel good about the way that you manage things. So have that discussion, make a little chart, have a little award ceremony, whatever you want to do, because we want to connect you and your kids back to the fact that you were able to get through the first chunk of this, so that people feel a little bit more confident and a little bit more resilient about getting through the next chunk of this. The other thing that I really want you to pay attention to is that you have an opportunity right now with your kids to help them develop autonomy. In the fall, when all of this starts to happen, and you need your kids to be able to have some ability, depending on their age, some ability to manage independently, now is the time to practice that. Doesn't matter how you practice it. To me, the exact details of the autonomy practice don't matter, but you want to start using the language with your kids now that they can handle things, that they can independently take things on, that you can give them the space to manage without them having the idea that once school starts again, that you are going to be there every moment to make sure that everything goes well. So a little autonomy practice. So I have on the podcast, A Mom's Retreat, we're taking a little summer break right now. We're going to have some bonus episodes coming up over the summer but I talk about these issues in greater detail. Please join the Facebook group so that you can have discussions with other parents. I know that loneliness and feeling like you're the only one going through this is really pervasive right now. So please join the Facebook group. You can go to amomsretreat.com. You can go to our Facebook page. We'd love to hear from you. We're going to be taking questions from listeners over the summer. And recognize that you cannot be in a state of worry. You cannot be in an internalized state thinking about these things and stay connected and present with your children at the same time. Work does not allow you to experience joy. It does not allow you to be present. It doesn't allow you to take a break from all of the stuff going on that you don't have a lot of control over. So, you're not going to eliminate it. You're going to recognize its power. You're going to acknowledge the impact that it has on your thinking. You're not going to trust your gut if you're worrying, because that's where worry lives. So step back from it a little bit and allow your kids the opportunity to connect with their successes and to connect with their autonomy. So hang in there. I know this is not an easy time, and that's putting it mildly. I wish you well. Enjoy your children. Be present with them. Even in the midst of incredible stress, moments of joy are possible, and they are so critical to you being able to help your kids right now. All right. Thanks, everybody. See you soon.